Welcome to the Doggy Style Podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Kyle, and my passion is dogs. What's yours? Let's talk about it. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe. In this episode, I talked to Rafael Friedan. He is a producer, a writer, director. We talk a lot about finding and pursuing his passion of filmmaking. We talk about specific ways to find your passion and the drive and relentlessness it takes to pursue it. We also talk about thinking less and feeling more, as I like to call it. In other words, if you want to slow down that overthinking, overattaching brain, this is the episode for you. All right, without further ado, Rafael Friedan. As you know, because you helped me come up with it, this podcast is about pursuing finding, you have to find your passion first, finding and pursuing your passion. So thank you for that. And thank you for doing exactly that, finding and pursuing your passion. Because I truly believe, I told you this earlier, that I think if everybody in this earth found their passion and pursued it, they would be a better person. And in turn, the whole world would be a better place. 100%. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like you're a man of many passions, but I think filmmaking is like on the top. So we'll talk about that. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing.
Cool. Let's do it.
How would you describe the concept of passion? I'm like super.
You would flip it on me.
I'm a writer. I'm very OCD about words and definitions and being clear.
Yeah.
And I feel like certain words like passion, for example, are thrown around a lot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
Yeah.
Purpose. I think passion is purpose, if that makes sense. So I can go, I think it's a feeling. I think when you find it, you literally feel different physically, mentally. And I think it's kind of, I found my purpose. That's why I'm fucking breathing right now.
It's not just something that you're passionate about. It's the thing you're most passionate about. Is that what you're...
Well, yeah. So you can have so many passions. Brandon, for instance, our friend Brandon, he has he loves a lot of things, he loves a lot. But I think everybody has that one thing where it's ooh, that's my thing. And everything else is kind of like a pastime. I'm going to go surf. That's fun as fuck. But it's not my passion. And then... Okay. Does that answer your question, Ella?
Right, yeah. So you're saying it's the thing you're most passionate about.
Yeah, the thing that you get excited about at night, and
right.
you get...
So it's the passion, not just a passion.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So would you say the passion for you is filmmaking?
Yeah, okay. I would. Storytelling.
Yeah.
Is I would say the ultimate passion, and I would say the purpose that I've identified for myself is to create stories that move people.
Mm-hmm.
So that, purpose I think of as the purpose I'm here, why I'm here, right, on the planet. So I was just wondering, passion, exactly.
No, it's a good question.
How do you, is it?
People do just throw that word around
right.
It's whatever. So go ahead. Do you have another question for me?
No, it's your podcast. It's your podcast. Go ahead.
When did you first realize this passion? Do you want to find another word for this? Because now every time I say it, I feel like I got to explain it.
Well, no.
I'm going to say purpose. Okay, no.
I think
a little too deep, maybe.
Yeah. No, I like passion. I was just getting engaged of because you said people could have many passions, but you're saying the one, the thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, for me, I think when I actually started, I would say during college, I made this short film. Mm-hmm. During college, I was very much just taking classes for the sake of getting a grades and diploma. Wasn't
most of us did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wasn't that into. So I basically just took this class that was easy, called a fine arts. It was a fine arts class, but it had video in it. So most people were making art pieces with video. Not a narrative movie type thing. Like a
short film kind of?
They're short, but video art.
Okay.
So
no storyline.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Right, narrative and storyline.
So you were this is stupid.
No, I just I made a short film with a narrative. Mm-hmm. That was what I was into, but I hadn't yet thought about wanting to do it before I took that class.
Okay.
I just took that class because it was an easy class.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the assignment, you know, then you got to make something, and people were making weird stuff, and I made this little short, like, action movie with my fraternity brothers as actors.
Did you get an A?
I don't remember what I got.
It doesn't matter. That's why.
But I remember everyone loved the movie, and it was just like this action movie that I shot at my fraternity house with my fraternity brothers. I wish I still had it. After making that and enjoying that, I started thinking about movies as a career.
Gotcha. So one class, and you were like, "Oh wow, this might be a thing."
Yeah, but it wasn't like, this is my thing.
No, I figured.
You know what I mean? It was just like,
because of how you're talking, I figured.
Right. I was like, oh, that was a lot of fun, and people liked it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really thought about it. And then because of that, I did some internships. I came out to LA for summer and did some internships in the film industry, which involved
everything.
You know, making copies and sort of office type stuff, but also read a lot of scripts. And
it's made it worth it.
Yeah, and that was the first time I had read movie scripts and thought more about and seeing the business side of it and how they develop movies and what have you, and thinking about, oh, this is how they do it, and this is what a job could be. So anyway, my bosses were like, you have a really good mind for analyzing scripts, because that's what part of what I was doing, and they're like, you should be like a studio executive or something like that. Right, someone that is in charge of developing the scripts. And I was like, okay, cool. You know,
how do I do that?
Yeah, how do I do that?
Can you help me?
Right, exactly. And
did they help you?
Yeah, they told me, like, move out here, be an assistant.
Okay, yeah.
And
they
work
told
your
you
way
steps.
Up. Yeah.
How old were you?
That was 20, I think. That was in between sophomore year was the class, so. Yeah, 19, 20.
What college did you go to?
Penn, University of Pennsylvania.
Nice. It's a good one.
Yeah,
so when you had that, you had your class, you had interest, you're like, oh, this might be a thing. How long until you like pursued it?
No, it was more of after I still was thinking about it. I did the next summer I did internships in New York in the film industry.
Got it. And
then it was right after college, I came out here and started that assistant thing, and then realized I don't want to become an executive. I didn't I was like, oh, I don't really want to become my boss.
Yeah,
like, I
get that.
Like
that didn't excite you.
Yeah, it was just too much like office type work. It wasn't so creative, and I was just kind of felt the stifling nature of it. But I was reading a lot of scripts, you know, again, during this, also reading a lot more scripts. And that's when and then I was like, I think I like have ideas for movies. And now that I'm getting a gauge of like what a script actually is, I think I could maybe do this, or at least want to try it. And so then I started writing, and that's when it started to snowball. That's when once I started writing a script, I was like, oh, I really dig this.
Totally.
So that's what happened. So basically what happened was, started at that point that I told you, I started writing my first script, and I started writing scripts that were all very big budget, or almost all very pretty big budget, comedy movies, you know, a lot in the vein of like a Wedding Crashers, Hangover, that type of like big fun comedy, right? Like I wrote one that was like very much like Old School, except instead of starting a fraternity, the guys in my movie started their own mafia. So that the idea is you're writing these, they're called spec scripts.
And
on
you
spec
hope.
You hope. Yeah. It's hope.
So it's a lot of
work.
A lot of hope, lot of work.
It
could be for absolutely nothing.
Yes, it usually is.
Literally, and it usually is.
It usually is, yes. Yeah, most of the scripts I have, most scripts I've written are, almost all the scripts I've written are just sitting on my computer.
Do you have a shit ton? Yeah. How many?
Probably about a dozen.
Okay.
Yeah. And, well, about a dozen, maybe a little more, some TV scripts as well. So, yeah, something.
I figured you probably had
about
more
a
than
dozen.
That, yeah. I watched the shittiest movie the other day, and then I realized that it is so hard to watch it, to probably create a movie that's even remotely interesting.
Until you're, you know, you're involved in making a movie, or at least you just come and watch. Like, you really have no idea how hard it is to make any movie, much less a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like, after making a movie, or like, I definitely am much more, tolerant and forgiving, or like not mean about other movies, because like I know how hard it is. So it's
less judgmental.
Yeah, exactly, less judgmental, because it's like, right. So it's like, oh yeah, this is not a great movie, but the fact that they made it and that it even makes sense
exactly
is actually a huge accomplishment.
Exactly.
Especially low budget, because you're very limited on time. One of the biggest things about low budget, everyone I think realizes low budget, you can't do like huge, special effects or like plane crashes, or like everyone realizes that about small budget.
What it is, yeah.
But I think the thing that maybe not everyone realizes about low budget is that you have much less time to shoot every day on a set, because you're paying for all the crew and you're paying for the locations, and right, there's daily costs. Every day costs a lot of money.
I bet.
So that on a low budget, you have way less days. So for example, we shot my movie in 15 days, right? Whereas
crazy.
A normal studio movie, not a huge, like a normal studio movie is like 3 months.
Wow.
Of shooting, right?
Yeah.
And like a big action movie could be 6 months, 9 months. It could be way longer even. But but then they have so many things it takes a lot longer to shoot, obviously intricate action scenes. But point being that you have, on a short film, you have less time, so you have less time to do each scene. And so
less time in general.
And you have less takes, so you end up with bad scenes just
because of lack of time.
Because you got to rush through it.
That's frustrating.
And there's a lot of pieces to a good scene, even if it's literally just us two talking. There's a lot of pieces to this, right? It's how we deliver the lines, the timing. It's all the movements that we do, and half of it is just like making sure that physically the movements are fine and they show in the camera, and we're doing the right thing that's going to cut together with something else, and we're not turning away from the camera and then we don't see your face. Like
everything matters.
Right, that's all the logistical. Then there's actually the good performance and like actually making the scene work in like a creative, good way.
So many layers.
Right? So there's all that, and you're trying to nail that. You only have like a couple takes to do it on a short film because you're so rushed. There's so little time. Big studio movies have reshoots. They go back and shoot stuff again that got messed up.
With the lower budget.
If you have low budget, usually, unless you get more, raise more money.
Yeah.
So that's why you end up with like either things that are like glaringly like, what the fuck was that, or just like, this seems bad, or like we're missing something, and it's just because that was what they were able to get in the time and didn't get messed up, and it's usable, and it's
I'm not gonna lie, this whole filmmaking thing sounds pretty shitty.
It's
so what would you recommend to someone who's interested in this to pursue it?
I would. Well, I would recommend that you go see what it is. Like, that's what I'm saying.
So,
like, people have, maybe if you've never been on a set, like, try to find a way to either visit a set or
before putting all the work in. Yeah,
or get a job, as a production assistant or whatever.
I think that's what most people do, right?
That's like the starting job on set.
Okay.
So or somehow just either get a job or see if you can visit a set, find a way to find someone that and see if you can visit a set, or just even like a student film.
Yeah.
You would even get an idea of like what's happening.
And you can get a camera for not too expensive, and you can shoot a film with your friends, right? That might be a cool thing, because me and my brother did that growing up a lot. I hated it, but I did it because he loved it and we were all having fun. So you can kind of, like, I like this. So, you know what I mean? Obviously, you're just chilling, doing it in your backyard or whatever, but you can really get a sense if this is a feeling that you like.
Yeah, and definitely if you like, that's the way to pursue it, is make stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and to post it on your YouTube, post it on your Instagram. I feel like nowadays that might be a good option for someone interested in filmmaking.
For sure, I think.
And everything you said, too, because that's like, you want to get your foot in the door.
Yeah. The best way to do it now,
what's the best way?
For sure, is to develop your own following online.
Gotcha.
So whether you're making YouTube videos, Instagram, TikTok, even podcasts, there are scripted podcasts, right, where it's just like a It's like a movie, but the audio version, like the old radio shows.
Yeah.
Even that, you could do that.
So much you can do.
So, but yeah, definitely the best way now is to develop your own following. If you have your own following online, you can get meetings in Hollywood to pitch TV shows, or you can you can get jobs in Hollywood writing, directing. That's the best way now. That carries the most weight now, as opposed to the traditional way, which you still can do, is you get a job in the industry as an assistant somewhere, and you make connections because you're dealing with people as an assistant. You're gonna meet a lot of people. You make connections. You network, and you get people to read your scripts if you're a writer, or look at your stuff if you're a director. And
so that's the old-fashioned way?
That's the old-fashioned way.
Sounds like, the slow way.
It's a slow way. People are still doing it.
Okay.
It still works.
Okay.
And in TV, and writing and directing are, not usually not. I mean, there are people that do both like me, but a lot of times there's people that just want to write or just want to direct. So like TV, there's a kind of a way to get in the writer's room as an assistant and a writer's assistant. And those people often get promoted to be a writer.
Gotcha.
Or at least they make connections that help them get a job on another show. Maybe.
Yeah, is TV and movie the same type of angle? Like, if you want to get in there?
Not exactly. Not exactly. They're more together now than they used to be. They used to be very separate, and used to be people. It'd be like TV writers, TV directors, and then movie writers, movie directors, and it was like, and movies were above TV. It was like, if you're on TV, you're trying to make the jump to movies. Same for actors too. It used to be movies.
Totally.
Movies were above TV.
Yeah.
Now that's changed.
Okay.
What TV has gotten cinematic. It's gotten as like movie style. It's gotten as budgets are as big as movies.
Totally. What is your favorite thing about creating a film? It could be the producing, the writing, the directing.
I think the like I said, the 15 days that I was actually directing my movie on set.
Yep.
I felt more alive than I've ever felt.
Oh yeah, and you probably didn't sleep much either.
No, didn't sleep a lot, and that's the fast. I always take a while to fall asleep. I have like onset insomnia. During the movie, I passed out one time. So we shoot this scene in the movie. There's a scene in the movie where the captain finds this guest, and he thinks he's dead. He's like lying on the deck, right? Literally the same day we shot that, I was going to bed so tired that I didn't even make it to my bed. I just collapsed and passed out on the floor. And the first AD found me and like checked my pulse to make sure I was alive, because I was just in my clothes, just like passed out on the ground. And
this was that day of that scene?
Yeah, the day we shot that same scene.
Ironic.
The same thing happened with me. So yeah, I slept well. But anyway, the point being, directing. Directing. Now, we'll see when, on bigger movie, if I do it on bigger movies, it may be a different experience. But as of right now, for sure, directing, because it's just like, it's the storytelling, but also I'm engaging with people, and I'm actually creating something that came from, my imagination in real time in front of me. And it's just awesome. It's just like, and it's doing with other people. And then so like, and it's just creating something from your imagination. It's awesome.
Someone who hasn't found their passion. So what would you recommend they do to find it? Because
I would first of all take the pressure off of I have to find my passion.
That's how I was.
Right.
But that's just me.
And take into consideration that you might have a passion, or the passion for a certain period of your life, and then it might change, and you might get into something else, right?
Yeah.
And so don't have this pressure of like, I gotta find the passion, and I also have to commit to it for the rest of my life.
That's good advice.
Right? Because then it's like, well, I'm really into this right now, but I don't want to be doing this when, in 20 years. Like, I'm not into that.
I feel like that's how every doctor and lawyer feels. They spent half their life getting the degrees, and then now they're doing it. It's like, shit, like, I got to do this to make money, and then, like, I don't want to, So that's good advice.
Yeah, so one
really
thing
is
don't just find what your passion is now, and it can change. So don't feel like you are betting all the chips.
You can't control anything, especially not your passion.
Yeah. So first of all, don't feel the pressure of like you're choosing your entire life.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I think you're talking about doctors and lawyers. We have had for a while in this culture like this paradigm of you choose a career and you do it for the rest of your life, right? And that's completely changed now.
Yeah,
right.
That's great. Yeah.
Everybody now it's all changing to people have multiple careers,
doing so many things.
Whether it's back to back or even at the same time.
Yep.
People have different careers.
Yep.
And people are changing, and the working for one company for your whole career, which like used to be the thing, is much rarer now. So anyway, I think the finding your passion that's for the rest of your life is still part of that paradigm. Like you have to choose something for your whole life. And I would say, I don't agree with that. And if you don't look at it that way, it takes some of the pressure off and it takes some of the fear about commitment to something off. Right?
Totally.
So anyway, that's
good.
one thing is like, don't feel the pressure. And then the other thing is try different things as opposed to trying to figure it out in your head. You were saying about overthinking.
Oh yeah. Don't overthink, overlearn.
So yeah, so learn. I mean, that's is just try different things, learn about different things that interest you. Try different things that interest you and then keep going if it interests you. Like I mentioned, I didn't really realize I was into, writing movies until I started writing one, and then it picked up momentum.
Exactly. So if you never started writing, you may not have found this passion of yours.
May not. I didn't think that was the thing. I just was like, oh, I want to try this because I'm interested in it and I have some ideas.
Yep.
So that's what I would advise is just try things you're interested in, and then if you like them, get more into them. Just get more into them and take it, just get more and more into them and take it to an obsession level.
Totally.
The other big thing is money. It's
a good answer. I like this.
We're so programmed in this culture to the goal is money. And things are only worth doing if you make money. Mm-hmm. So now you're talking about, okay, I have to find something that I'm passionate about and a way to make money off, right? And that's a lot of pressure, and
especially at the same time trying to figure that out. It's not going to happen,
right? And it's limiting,
very limiting,
right? Because then you're only choosing things that have a very clear and established way that other people have made money in a certain way, and a lot of people that you think it's like plausible that you could do it.
Yeah, it's good.
Right? So that's another thing. And so I would say don't think of the passion and the career as the same thing to start. So consider that don't make it have to be the same thing. They could be the same. I think when you're looking for your passion, don't worry about career money. Like do a career, do a job, whatever you think is working for you or what you're doing right now. But don't put that on the passion as well. Just try to find your passion on its own. Once you find your passion, once you really get into something, you're like, oh, I definitely want to do this or something like this all the time. Then start thinking about, okay, is there a way I could do it and make money? Because yes, ideally, it is the same thing. Mm-hmm. But it's not always. Sometimes people, are working a job to pay the bills, and then nights and weekends or whatever, they're doing their passion, and they're super happy. Yeah. And the point is, if you are doing your passion on a regular basis, you're going to feel better. Right?
That's the whole point. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to make money off it.
I know how I felt when I realized I found my passion. Like, it's a deep feeling. It's just so amazing. It's like drugs. And then every time I'm doing something that I put under the category of my passion, which is basically anything animal related, I just have that feeling.
So it's not just having the feeling, it's identifying that
Yeah.
feeling, right? It's realizing
because it's
feeling.
definitely more than just a feeling.
Yeah, and
It's like a part of me.
right.
And the more I do it, the more it's a part of me, the happier I am, the more present I am,
right.
the more calm I am, but also excited and full of energy at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you were not sort of aware of your feelings or like connected to how your body was feeling, you might not even notice that, right?
Yeah.
Or you might not connect it. You might notice that you are more energy, you're feeling better, but you wouldn't necessarily connect it to the thing that you're doing, right? You might just be like, oh, I feel good today,
Totally.
whatever.
Totally. Yeah, you kind of learn.
And
it's just like awareness. Like, as you know, you gain more awareness.
Right, and we're a very head-centered culture, very brain-centered, intellectual-centered, and I've certainly been on the extreme end of disconnected from my body and feelings. And so I'm just like, in recent times been working on reconnecting and starting to feel things and trust, the feeling. Like what I'm, describing what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is like identifying it. If you're just, which is what I always used to do, just trying to find the passion and the career, it's all coming from the head, and you're just thinking, okay, this is something that I'm good at. I can make money at. It's all it's all calculations.
Yeah.
Whereas really, your passion is going to cause passion, and you're going to feel something,
and then you can do whatever you want with it after that.
Right. So it's looking for the things that cause the feeling in you.
Yeah. So
and
totally
identifying the feeling and connecting it to what the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process.
And that might be a good tip of someone trying to find what they love to do, passion, purpose, whatever you want to call it, is feeling into things, feeling overthinking. So I started this thing in my head 2 years ago. I told myself I want to think less and feel more.
Right.
And then like a year later, like I found myself doing exactly that. And this was after I found my passion. But it's just interesting what comes out of feeling more, thinking less. It's just a different vibe. Because feeling things is hard, but it's good. But like there's no way around it.
Right. And there's also just it's not just like feeling emotions. It's you have like an inner inner knowing. Like
that's what I'm trying to say.
Gut instinct is often called, like, trust your instincts.
Yep.
People say that. Trust your gut.
Yep.
Right. It's that thing. The brain, the mind it's full of stories that have accumulated from your experiences, and they're confusing and often self-defeating. They're often negative. Mm-hmm. And then you're often talking yourself out of the things that you actually care about and would enjoy. Like, you're talking yourself out of your passion. Like, we're talking about finding your passion.
Exactly.
You're often talking yourself out of it.
It's the mind that's saying, oh, I like this, but how am I going to make money? Oh, I can't do it because it's never going to make money. That's you thinking into it, not feeling into it. People
have like these weird attractions and feelings to thing, like say a musical instrument or whatever. Like certain ones, people, or like you with dogs, like they'll feel something around it, and they just won't go with it.
They won't go there.
They won't follow it.
Yeah. And I think that has to do with people not wanting to feel their feelings. Because if you're going to feel into good feelings, you're also going to be feeling into bad feelings, and that's scary.
I think it's also very cultural. Brought up, it's how we're taught in schools. School is all very head-centered, right? When you're a kid, you're taught it's just about the mind, and it's all intellectual, and you have to sit in your seat all the time. You're not doing anything with the exception of, gym a couple times a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You're not. Yeah. So we're all learning to focus on the head and the mind and not get emotional. Not, if you get emotional in school, you get in trouble, right? And so you're
excused. It's like bad to cry and show emotions and feel.
It's bad to cry. It's bad to make any kind of, anything emotional.
And then throw a gender on there too, because I know the males get it shittier than the females.
Right. That is the male, sort of the macho culture. Men don't cry. Boys don't cry. Yeah. That whole thing. For sure, it's been, looked down upon for men to get emotional besides anger, That's the like allowable.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing now, obviously, but like that historically, yeah, men could get angry, but no, you couldn't be sad. You couldn't, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah. So anyway, in terms of now, we're talking about people and trusting their feelings. Well, they're told not. We're taught in this culture and in school and everything not to trust our feelings. We're taught to just trust the mind and make logical, analytical decisions. And so then we're not. So then that's how we're doing everything, and then we're missing these messages that our body is sending.
Exactly.
Like passion, like finding your passion. We're missing
little
it.
downloads. We're just
missing
missing them. It's there's too much to filter out.
And then you have, like you're saying, people end up in these professions.
Yeah.
And they don't like them because it was all just a head decision. It was all just like, okay, what makes good money and what, will give a good lifestyle. There's this guy, I saw this little thing online once. There's this guy that works a computer, like some boring computer, desk at a computer type job. And then outside of work, like after work and weekends, this is in China, he rides a motorcycle down the bridge that has the most suicides in the world, this big bridge in China, and he pulls people off that are about to jump. He sees people like getting ready to jump. He rolls up on his motorcycle and like tackles them off the thing, takes them back to his house, and like counsels them basically, and helps them and gets them help. And that's like he goes to this 9-to-5 regular type job.
He does that at night
and does that.
It's like Superman.
Yeah. And that's like a extreme example, obviously, but an example of someone who's just working sort of a job that is not, that he doesn't find all that interesting, but it's just to make money, and it supports his real passion.
Yeah.
And he uses
that's
that.
Exactly
Right. So that's like
that's a beautiful example.
A beautiful example.
Wow. So why don't we tell the people where to find you? Are you on any social sites?
I like it sometimes, but I rarely post. I'm just not that active on it.
Okay, no worries. Okay, where do we find your movie?
Movie is called Captain Hoggen's Bed and Breakfast. That's Hagen, Captain Hoggen's Bed and Breakfast. Amazon Prime. If you have a Prime subscription, you can watch it for free. Otherwise, you can rent it for a few dollars. And also, it's on iTunes, available to rent.
Love it.
And some other Tubi TV is a new free streaming app. If you have that, you could watch it there too.
Cool.
But yeah,
love it.
Search for Captain Hoggen's Bed and Breakfast. Search for my name, Rafael Friedan.
Perfect.
You'll find it.
Perfect.
And check it out.
Cool. Thank you for coming, hanging with me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for listening